what a solid day's hunting. Time for a little bit of a rest. Keep the body strong. Good night, world. Good night. What? What? Where? Wait a minute. But no. What?
You've been unconscious for 6 months, Doodle.
Hello, fellow hunters. This, well, it's hell. We've entered the end times. How do you wake up every day and answer the question, do I play World or do I play Generations Ultimate? Well, hopefully this video should make that a little bit easier. For most veterans, you've probably made up your mind, but for everyone who's just played World, who's maybe sat there thinking, it looks kinda cool, but obviously it looks very different. Will I even enjoy it? Is it too much of a step back? Well, let me begin with this. Monster Hunter World is unequivocally the best Monster Hunter experience to date, and I feel that it is that by a fairly large margin. The moment-to-moment gameplay has never been more enjoyable than in World. In contrast, the older style is going to feel slow, clunky, and frustrating, especially as you get used to it. But World is not perfect. No game is ever perfect, unless, of course, the protagonist is named Geralt.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true.
So naturally, there are a fair few things that the old school experience, primarily Generations Ultimate, does have World royally thrashed on. And that's the focus of today, the 5 things that you can't really get from World that Generations Ultimate is going to give you. So to begin with then, well, this one you might think is a cop-out, but stay with me here. Stay with me. Please don't leave. I spend more time talking to my computer than I do real people. So, it's for everyone who is a veteran hunter, nostalgia, right? That's a powerful motive. You have your rose-tinted goggles on, you remember the old ways, and you have your back in my day. I had to stand still and flex after every potion, and I fucking liked it. And it's kinda good to get back to that, well, your roots. For everyone who's just played World, though, I would also argue the curiosity factor. Are you not interested in experiencing what started this magnificent series? How it got such a passionate, loyal, and dedicated following? Because before World, you essentially had 2 types of people. Those that went, what the hell's Monster Hunter? And those that went, oh my god, I fucking love Monster Hunter. Rarely did you have someone who's like, yeah, that game's okay, I guess. So you will get to experience the bedrock of what led to the magnificent masterpiece that masquerades as World. Don't you want to see what used to be, well, Monster Hunter? It's a very different experience, the system's very different, the sources of satisfaction similar, but how you go about achieving them, again, ever so different. Starting to play Generations Ultimate will feel like coming home after 20 years away, and you recognize the house, but all of the rooms inside have been completely remodeled, and that is probably going to be quite, at least, an interesting experience. Worth buying a whole game for? Perhaps not, but we still have 4 points to go. So, let's get something a little bit more tangible, something you can actually sink your teeth into. We have then a colossal volume of content coupled with the ability to play anywhere. And I think that is a big deal. I have long missed the times where any travelling, instead of being met with a, I have to be around people in a vehicle for hours. It was instead met with, what? You say this journey's 3 hours? I'm gonna farm me, like, half an armor set because this fucking gem won't drop! Ah! because really, everything is so much grindier and rare in the old games, which I won't lie is part of the reason game time gets so padded, but at the same time you don't feel it because it's so royally addicting and satisfying. It really, really is. So you have over 1,000 quests, 1,000 separate hunts to go on, nearly 100 monsters. You have yourself the armor and the weapons from every single one, resulting in a spectrum of equipment that makes World look absolutely pathetic. The design choices different, the aesthetic, the art style different, more vibrant, more colourful, bolder, a little bit more out there. Let's go with less realistic. The more muted natural tones and look of World serves it well for what it's trying to do, but in the old games they didn't give a fuck about that. You went big or you went home. You have these bold design choices, big badass armor, and it all looks, well, some of it questionable, but for the most part fabulous. With a proper transmog system that you really have to farm for and earn, you have hundreds of combinations of looks that you can end up having one hell of a sense of fashion hunting. And then you have so many weapons, and still there's a few main meta ones, but certainly so many options for every type of playstyle and build, many more than we currently have in World. It is the culmination of years upon years upon years of additive content and experiences, all packed into one celebratory "this is Monster Hunter" experience, and you get it all right here. And good fucking god, there is a lot of it. There really is, as well as, what, like maybe 10 separate maps, not as detailed, not as living, loading screens between them, but still a lot of environments to fight your way through. No turf wars, no 3 monsters on one map, but these are all things that are, well, cherries on top. You're not gonna put down the game because you can't see a turf war, but you will, let me tell you, dearly miss them. And while you do have all these armor skills, you still have, well, again, meta skills. The build diversity is about the same, but how you can achieve it, the efficiency, is from so many different pieces and combinations. You will always have people who have got a slightly different setup, especially dependent on charms. Charms in World you just make, but in the old games you have to farm them RNG like decorations, whereas decorations in Ultimate you just make. They essentially flipped it, but really it's pick your poison. Honestly, they're both fucking awful grindfests. But combined with the old skill system, you can really get deep into crafting and theorying your perfect setup. Now, it is again gonna feel a little bit worse, a little bit less intuitive, because skills have to aberrantly add up to +10, so you might have +4 on your legs, +5 on your chest, +1 from your helmet, and then the skill activates. And look, I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of how the systems have changed, how they work in Generations Ultimate. There is 1,000 videos that are really good at getting you to grips with the basis of the changed mechanics. I want to sell you what you can see here that you can't see in World, and this one is just the volume of content. It is colossal. You could play for a year and really only make a little bit of a dent. Honestly, there is thousands of hours, and it's not just farming the same 4 Elder Dragons over and over and over. Then we have the Hunter Arts and the Hunter Styles. These then didn't make their way to World, and they are very, well, unique. Look, I am definitely of the school of veteran hunter who has a, well, you know, I'm just gonna play regular guild style, cause that's what I'm used to. I don't know what all this fancy schmancy new-shangled type tomfoolery is, but, you know, you kids have fun. Though I will admit I am growing very fond of Valor style, which is all about sheathing to avoid attacks and then put away your weapon, entering the Valor mode, and then unleashing super enhanced versions of your moveset, and it just feels super reactive and fluid, and you feel feel like such a hero when you pull it off, but you have aerial style that lets you spam do jump attacks, leap off the monster's back, dance around it in this beautiful ballet of the sky, also known as spam the same move over and over and over and over, and congratulations, you win. Depends how you look at it. But 14 weapons, 15 if you count the Prowler, and 6 styles for each. You're gonna find yourself liking weapons that you perhaps really don't in World. There is a lot to experiment and a lot to see that just simply isn't part of the weapons moveset in World. Now, it does work the other way around. You lose things like True Charge on Greatsword, even Shoulder Bash, Helm Splitter on Longsword, Attach to the Monster and Explode on Switch Axe, but that is made up for by the Hunter Arts, which are special moves you can fire off after charging by hitting the monster that just look badass, an eclectic array of effects as you smash with this over-the-top anime as fuck move that just emanates power and just slickness, and you really do enjoy them. Yes, if you're gonna again be a meta hunter, there are a few that are better than the rest that you'll generally use most of the time, but all of them are worth experimenting with and just experiencing how fucking cool they really are. I think they're also a little bit disjointed because I like having everything baked into your weapon set and your inputs and your combinations. Having these extra press one and done moves I don't think is really that Monster Hunter-y, but it is admittedly fun. Also, huge shout out to Makey. Either way, he made this just lovely montage showing off the beautiful, ridiculous things you can pull off with the styles and the Hunter Arts, and really, it sells them better than anything I could ever do. Would recommend, especially when it's to the music, and he does a fabulous job. He'll be down below, so there you go. Then we have ourselves the difficulty. This is something you won't get in World because it doesn't have G rank. Generations Ultimate has G rank, which is, well, low to high rank, but high rank to G rank. A big step up, monsters get new moves, they hit like fucking freight trains, and you will find levels of challenges that make Extreme Behemoth look like a puppy. And this is where the men are born, in fiery flames of furious battle, also known as go in a group of 4 and chain trip and trap the monster until it dies. I am good at this game, but you have the fact that the multiplayer quests, the G rank themselves, is always tuned to multiplayer. So if you're soloing, you have one hell of a health pool to get through, and you really feel like you earn the victories that you attain. The final boss is a spectacle to behold. Not hugely difficult, but definitely worth getting to. But either way, it's a whole new step up, a whole new level of difficulty, a whole new level of equipment, and you really experience what many hold to be the true Monster Hunter. And that is something definitely to worth consider. Definitely to worth consider. Definitely to worth consider.
What the fuck are you talking about?
If you think, you know, you've not been really challenged that much, if you've waltzed through World, and really I've had a few friends that started playing World for the first time on PC, it's their first Monster Hunter game, I was there rubbing my hands together, oh, I cannot wait for you to cart. Yes, go through what I went through many years ago. Fucking freedom unite. What were those hitboxes? But then they kind of breezed through everything, barely carting, and I'm like, either they're really good at games or World is easier than the old games to get into. My god. Like, I mean, they've got Tempered Kirin yet, so here's hoping the salt can still flow. Look, what am I supposed to do, right? You know, be fucking happy for these people that I'm supposed to like? No! They're supposed to cry and cart in your first Monster Hunter game, damn it! So yeah, World definitely a, let's say, approachable version of Monster Hunter, and the old games not so much. They're going to start kicking you in the face from the get-go. So if you want yourself a challenge, granted, a lot of that challenge will come from fighting the controls and the clunkiness and the UI and the systems as much as it comes from the monster, then you want to go for Generations Ultimate. The monsters themselves also act a lot more predictably. There are a lot more, these are the moves that they're going to use, this is how they work, you can learn them, you know what it's going to do, where its head's going to be in 3 seconds, you can line up an attack to connect, and you can really learn yourself into being incredible by just knowing the monster in and out. Whereas in World, they act a little bit more, well, alive, naturally, a little bit more intelligent, a little bit more erratic. But the old games, they're very much, well, walking programmed movesets, and you can kind of abuse that. So whether that's something you might like, only you can answer. And then finally, of course, number 1, well, there's nearly 100 monsters. I want to go and hunt all of them, to kill all the rest, yeah, that's my cause.
Bremakau, Valstrax, Astalos, Gamoth, Mitsune, Glaminus, Celtus, Tigrex, Conchu, Zinoga, Zanchios, Daimyo, Amatsu, Styrigios, Giginox, yeah!
Hunt 'em, gotta hunt 'em all, ultimate! And if that doesn't get you, I really don't know what will. The fact that you get to experience nearly every monster that's ever been in Monster Hunter. A lot of them are subspecies, a lot of them are similar, but still, the volume of shit to kill, right? You have your work cut out for you, you really do. And there are some just incredible designs, some that are over the top, ridiculous, bonkers, what were they thinking maybe, but still undeniably fucking cool. And there are some experiences that World will likely never be able to replicate when it comes to some of the monsters that you will face. There are seriously just even a few that I could name, but I won't because of, well, potential spoilers, that are worth getting the game for by themselves, especially the final boss. There is a moment when it enters phase 2 that will stay with you forever. But a lot of my most favourite monsters are coming from the old games. They didn't make their way to World. You get to see the flagships of yore, the monsters that the veterans hold to their hearts and miss dearly. And just seeing every cool creature created is worth it. It really is. Just go on a natural kind of bloody tour through the ecosystems of yore, and you are sure to be filled with awe. So do it for the roster, if nothing else. Do it for the roster. So there you go, guys. 5 main selling points, I would say, hopefully I didn't get too in-depth, that Generations Ultimate can offer you as a World player. It will be frustrating at first. It will, I would argue, be less fun. You might be tempted to be like, no, this isn't worth it. But if you persevere, if you learn the more, let's say, dense, harder to get into, but perhaps more satisfying systems, you will get a lot out of it. You really will. As I said, I have played hundreds to thousands of hours in every Monster Hunter game, and objectively, I can't deny World is the single best experiences, but the old games just offer this intangible something that I really think will be permanently lost going forward as World becomes the new standard. And for one last time, and for one last opportunity, while it's relevant, it might just be worth getting a little taste of that. So for now, my name has been Josh. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. Oh, goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.